Hello, family. Imagine picking a business that looks like jumping on a roller coaster, thrilling, promising, looking very bright, but ended up crashing. Or one that is like a smooth ride to millions. Today, we are ranking business models from the total flops to absolute game changers. Whether you are a student, a side hustler, or a professional, we will show you what works, what doesn't, and how to avoid wasting your time. Stick around and you won't believe what's at the top. We are grading these businesses like a report card based on four things. First is how much cash you need to start. Second is how much profit you keep. Third is how long until you start making money. And the fourth is your odds of winning big. From scams that will leave you broke to businesses that will print money for you. We've got the full scope. Let's start with the absolute worst. F tier is the absolute worst. It's literally called the danger zone. This F tier are businesses that waste your time and money. And if care is not taken, also take part of your mental energy. These businesses are of high risk, low reward. Avoid these traps around your own day life. Example of these businesses are multi-level marketing, popularly known as MLMs, and unqualified life coaching. Let's start with multi-level marketing. Multi-level marketing promises reach through recruitment. You buy a stuff, specifically, let's say maybe some supplements or a course online or something like that, but you paid more than 10 times the price. This kind of businesses, 99% of this kind of businesses lose money. This is not said by me, it is said by FTC. And startup cost of these businesses are usually around $10 to $500, and the profit margin is usually 0% because most people don't recover what they spend. The success rate of this business is usually less than 1%, and time to profit rarely happens. You hardly see somebody that profits from this kind of businesses. Example of this are you buy and you sell supplement or courses on MLMs at 10 times the price to your friends. They lure you into saying, buy this course. You are going to, let's say you are buying a course of normal price is $10. They will ask you to buy it on $100. You sell it to your friend also on $100. But when your friend buy it on that $100, you are keeping $50 and you are handing over $50 to the company. You see, if you are a fool enough to fall for this, your friends might not be that fool. They might not be fools enough to take this kind of useless stuff. My own personal opinion on this is that this is just a scam in a shiny wrapping. Run for your dear life. The second example is unqualified life coaching. These unqualified life coaching are easy to start, but fails without credibility. Once you don't have the credentials to show that you are a professional on that field, definitely you are just wasting your time. The startup cost of this is usually between $200 to $1,000, and the profit margin is 90%. But that if you get clients, because you hardly see clients, except if you have the credentials and you have past experience, you have a lot to show. The success rate of these kind of businesses are usually less than 5% without expertise. This is not said by me; it is said by ICF. If you are an expert, you have the credentials, you have the credibility, you have the clients, then this is a very, very good to go business. Time to profit in this kind of business is usually between 1 to 6 months, but that's even if you are lucky. And my own personal opinion on this is this needs a real track record to work. But before you produce the good track record, it's not a simple job. The next is D-tier. D-tier are tough roads with big risks. These are businesses that require high effort. They are very, very high risk and they demand your time so much. Their reward is very, very low. And like I said, high effort, high risk, and high reward, plus very demanding. Demanding businesses with slim chances of success. Examples of these businesses are restaurants, retail stores, and small-scale manufacturing. Let's get ahead with these examples. Let's break down this restaurant business. Restaurant business is very, very high cost, intense competition, and 80% fell in the first 5 years of their launch. This is not said by me, it is said by NRA, National Restaurants Association. You see, it is high cost. You need to invest a lot of money to produce the menu, your office space, the infrastructures in the restaurant. You just need to beautify it to make it beautiful. It requires a lot of money. And there is a very, very high and intense competition, even from local food eateries, especially in the developing countries. And 80% of these businesses fails. What I mean by that is, if you are to open this business today, in the next 5 years, 80% of you that opens it today are going to be out of business, definitely. And the startup cost of this is usually between $1,000 to $50,000, depending on your country, your location, and the type, the level, because even on the business, they are of different levels. And the profit margin is usually between 3% to 10% highest. Time to profit is usually you see, this profit margin, at some point in time, you can get far ahead of that, but this is the average. Then time to profit is usually between 1 to 3 years, and the failure rate is 80% in 5 years, just like I said earlier. Example of this is Lisa's burger joint. It closed in just 18 months. Can you imagine? Just 18 months. My opinion on this is this kind of business needs a very, very killer location, prime location, and unique brand. Before you achieve this, it's something that will require a lot of effort. And that takes us to our next example. Our next example is traditional retail stores. You see, these traditional retail stores, they used to do very, very good in the past. But now they are crushed by e-commerce giants because of high cost and intense competition. For you to run this kind of business, you have to hire a place, which is an office literally. You have to invest a lot in inventory and a lot of other stuffs. You have to hire workers and a lot of stuffs. So calculating all these kind of stuff, somebody is selling the same thing you are selling online without doing all those things. He might sell at cheaper price and still make profit more than you. So because of that, there is Amazon and some other e-commerce like that are just eating these small retail stores like lunch. They are high cost and there is a very, very intense competition, because when you see one open today, when you're coming next month, you are going to see another opening around there. The startup cost of this is usually between $5,000 and upward, and the profit margin is 5 to 20%. They are quite good. There is profit, but when you are not in a good location or when you are in developed places, developed countries like that, e-commerce is just swallowing them. But in the underdeveloped country, this is one of the very, very good businesses to venture into. Time to profit is usually between, well, it's unclear, but it's usually between immediately to 1 year. But there is no, this is my own opinion, but I did not find it. Everything I'm saying here is based on research, except if I'm saying my opinion, I say that it's my opinion. So time to profit, I do not see any published time to profit in this, but based on my own opinion, is immediately to 1 year. There is a very, very high risk of closure on this. Example is Bob's clothing store. It shut down due to online competition, and a lot of these kind of examples are out there. My personal opinion on this is not future proof. Then the next example is small-scale manufacturing or handmade goods. These are time-consuming and they are very, very hard to scale. And the startup cost of this kind of business is usually between $1,000 to $100,000 plus. The profit margin of this is 10 to 30%. You are manufacturing something at home. Well, it requires. I don't want this video to be very lengthy, so I will limit the explanation on this. And time to profit is usually between 1 to 2 years. The example I'm going to give you on this is Sarah's scarf businesses. It struggled, very, very much struggle just to sell. She wasted her time, and sorry, don't waste. She spent her time to produce or manufacture the scarf and find it hard to sell. My personal opinion on this is work only for niche. When you have a good niche, you are good to go. And also when you have a high quality product. This is said by Etsy seller reports, not by me. And that takes us to C-tier. These C-tiers are businesses that are flashy but flimsy. C-tiers are trendy businesses with thin margin, very, very thin. They are easy to start but hard to sustain. Examples of these are dropshipping, print on demand, and ad-based applications. Let's begin with the dropshipping. Dropshippings are the business that you sell product without inventory, supplies shipped directly to the customer. All you need is to find a good product you think will sell, create an advert on it, and post it online. When somebody click and orders, you hint the producer or the supplier, and the supplier ships it straight to the customer. So it's very, very simple to start. The startup cost of this is usually between $100, sometimes even free. They are usually even free. The $100 is just for your website, for some fancy stuff that are going to help you in running the business. But if you want, some of them can go even for free. So usually $100 to $5,000, and the profit margin is 5 to 30%. They are good. Example of this are, you see, Tunde's phone case store was copied very, very fast. Immediately he launched it, people see how he's making money. It looks simple to start, everybody jump into, and before you know, competition overdose. My personal opinion on this is quick to start but tough to maintain. And that takes us to our next example, which is print on demand. You see, this print on demand, you design a t-shirt or mugs or bags, handbags or stuff like that, and post them on platforms. Platforms handle production. All you need to do is just design them. You design, somebody ordered, and you make the order straight to the supplier. The supplier print and ship straight. So the difference between dropshipping and this is just that this, you make the print. You are the one that make the design, unlike dropshipping. The startup cost of this is usually between $10 to $1,000. Profit margin is between $10 to 10% to 30%. And time to profit in this kind of business is usually unpredictable. It's because it's oversaturated. So when something is oversaturated, you have nothing to say. An example of this is Ezekiel's cat t-shirts earned him $200 per month. And before you know, he lost all that profit because of high competition. My own personal opinion on this is fun. but low earnings. The third example is ad-based mobile apps. These apps, you see, pre-app monetized by ads need millions of users. Before you start making money or before you start making serious money, you need millions of users. So they are hard to run. And the startup cost of this is usually between $1,000 to $100,000 for the production, the design, the coding, program stuff, everything like that related to that. And the profit margin is between 5 to 15%. Time to profit on this kind of business is usually between 1 to 2 years. An example of this is Plaffy and $50,000 a day. You see, they have already succeeded. These ones, they are like, you see, this Plaffy Bird, is some people are even addicted to it. So if you succeed in this, you are just good to go. My opinion on this is this requires high effort, but the return is quite low. And that takes us to the next tier, which is the B tier. The B tier is steady money makers. This is one of the best business to go into. B tier are reliable, profitable businesses. They are low startup cost, and they demand your presence steady, and they are in demand steady also. Examples of these are freelancing agencies and local services. That begins with the first, freelancing and consulting. This is like selling your own skills, e.g. coding, design, or any of other skills that you can do soft with zero startup. The startup cost of this is usually zero. All you need to do is go and register on those platforms, maybe Fiverr, Outwork. Although Outwork, for you to advertise your niche, you need to put some, you need to get some credit, or I can't remember what they call it, but you need to put on some money to advertise yourself. But if you want, you can just go with zero startup cost. And if you are good at what you do, you are going to profit. Profit margin is usually between 90% to 80%. And success rate is usually 20 to 25% of these people that are into this and six figures, says by Upwork. But this is for the people that succeed, the top 1% usually. An example of this is Martin's $500 logo gig from home. He's making good logos, charging $500 from home. And my personal opinion on this is great for skilled and hardworking pros. If you are good and you're skilled and you're hardworking, this is a good to go to. Next is agency. You see, this agency model is a very, very good, because this is like just skilled freelancing with a team, e.g. marketing agency or something like that. It's just like freelancing, but a skilled one. This one you are not doing alone. You have your team that are doing for you when you collect the contract. The startup cost of this is usually between $1,000 to $10,000, and the profit margin is usually between 20 to 40%. And time to profit is immediately to 6 months. So you see, this is good to go. An example of this is single grain grew to millions via SEO. If you have a good SEO, you are going to succeed. So this single grain grew to millions via just SEO. My opinion on this is it scales with management. If you have a good management, you will profit. The next example is local services. You see, local services, it's steady demand, like there's steady demand for cleaning, repairs, etc. So it's a good business to go into. Startup cost of this is usually between $100 to $15,000 for inventory, for cleaning stuff that you'll need for running your business, for running your service, And the profit margin is usually between 20 to 50%. And the time to profit is usually between 1 to 2 months. Example of this is mic cleaning business, profited very, very fast. Before you know, if you have the client, and having the client is not a hard work if you are good at what you do. My verdict is this is dependable and profitable. So just run for this. And that takes us to the A tier. The A tier is what I titled Big Wins with Smart Moves. A tier are the high margin and scalable businesses. They have great potentials with the right strategy. Examples of these are franchisees, digital products, DTC brands, and so on. Let me explain. You see, this franchise ownership is a good thing to do. Run a proven brand, e.g. Subway or McDonald's or something like that. A brand that is already loved by customers, that have customers' loyalty, and that is already known, published, and rest. All you need to do is pay for their franchise, go ahead, open a business, and people will run because the business is already established. The startup cost of this is usually between $50,000 to millions in dollars, and the profit margin is usually between 10 to 20%. That's not bad. The success rate is usually between 85%. The success rate 85% plus, survive 5 years plus, which is not bad actually. And time to profit usually immediately, because the brand is already known. Example of this is Jen's Subway store, profited in just 18 months. And verdict is this is a very, very solid business if you qualify. The next example is digital product. You see this digital product, once you have the audience, you are good to go. You sell courses, ebooks, and tools online. The startup cost of this is usually between $500 to $100,000. The profit margin is 80 to 95%, because this is like you just create an ebook today, or you create a course today, and you sell them to infinity. This is just like musician recording a music today and receiving the royalty even 10 years after you recorded the music. Do the work done and keep receiving the payment to infinity. So this is good to go. Example of this is Teachable Creators earn $1 billion by 2023. Go to Teachable Creator report and you will see this and you will believe me. And my verdict on this is lucrative with audience. If you have the audience, you are good to go. The next example is direct to consumer, which is DTC brands. You see this, all you need is outsource production and focus on branding. Once you got a good production, like you get a production with that have the quality you needed, all you need is to focus on branding, and that way your work is very much reduced. The startup cost of this is usually between $10,000 to millions of dollars, depending on the specific business you want to do. And the profit margin is usually within the range of 30 to 60%. Time to profit is usually within 6 to 12 months, and success rate of this kind of businesses is 10 to 20% long-term success. Example of this is Warby Parker hit $3 billion with eyewear. So you see, you can just go ahead with this. This is one of the most popular businesses that's out there. My verdict on this is branding drives big wins. It has huge potentials. Now we are going to the absolute best, which is the S tier. S tier is the $1 million machines. It's one that only the unique people have this kind of opportunity to do this kind of businesses. S tier is the elite business with massive potentials. These businesses are like, they require high startup cost, but they also give big and huge rewards. Examples of them are software as a service, marketplaces, and financial technology, fintech. Let's begin with the first, which is the SaaS, software as a service. All you need to do is build a software and charge subscription. It looks simple, right? It's actually not. But looking at the profit you are going to be generating, we can say yes. Startup cost of this is usually between $10,000 to $500,000 plus. Profit margin on this is 70 to 90%, and time to profit is usually between 1 to 2 years. An example of this is Slack hit $27 billion valuation since it's running, and ChatGPT is also a good example of this. My verdict on this is recurring revenue powerhouse. This is a recurring revenue powerhouse. The next example is marketplaces. You see these marketplaces, all you need to do is connect buyers and sellers and take a cut from that. And from that, you see, you will just be making tons of profit. The startup cost of this is usually between $50,000 to $1 million. And the profit margin is usually between 40 to 70%, and time to profit is 1 to 3 years. Example of this is Airbnb reached $100 billion by 2021, and many of these examples are out there. I know by now you, the listener of this video, have already imagined some of these examples. My take on this is that this is hard to start, but it has massive upside. The next example on this is the fintech. Build a financial tools, maybe e.g. payment apps or something like that. Startup cost of this is usually between $500,000 to $1 million, $10 million, I mean. This depends on your regulations, because some countries have different regulations. And the profit margin of this kind of businesses is usually 50% plus. Time to profit is 2 to 5 years. It takes time to profit, but once you start profiting, it's a very, very good to go to. An example of this is Stripe. Stripe hit $95 billion valuation since its creation. And my take on this is risky, but it's a life-changing opportunity. Now, like promised, we are going to give you a bonus models. Here are the bonus models, which are the hidden gems. You see, emerging models with big potentials are what I call bonus. These businesses are accessible for creative and patient entrepreneurs. Examples of these are content creation, real estate investment, etc. Content creation is a very, very good business. Good business. Create YouTube or TikTok content, and from ads or sponsors. And when you do that, you just be sitting. It's a good site. In fact, you cannot even call this a side hustle. You can call it side hustle if you want, but this can be run as a legit, only good businesses. The startup cost of this business is usually between $0 to $5,000, and the profit margin is 50 to 90%. Time to profit is usually 6 to 12 months. Some are lucky to start earning in their first months. Example is MrBeast built a $500 million empire. Just a YouTuber. He's just a YouTuber. Well, my take on this is that this is great for creative hustlers. And that takes us to real investment. You see, real investment, buy, sell, rent, or flip properties for profit, is good to go to. It doesn't require your time, It's a very good business if you're patient. The startup cost of this business are usually between $5,000 to millions of dollars. And the profit margin is 20 to 50%. Time to profit is all between 1 to 5 years. An example of this is Grant Cardon's $4 billion portfolio. And I know you know other examples of this. My opinion on this is that this is stable for long-term world. Finally, we've reached to almost to the end of this video. Pick your path. Freelancing for big wins. SaaS for big dreams. Avoid FTR traps. Aim for AOSTR for scale. Start today. Try Shopify for DTC or Teachable for digital products. Which model is your vibe? Share your thoughts. Me and my team spend an impressive amount of time and resource to create this and bring to you. Not even a single line here is created by AI. The least you can do to put a smile on our face is to like this video and share it. If you did not subscribe or follow yet, please subscribe or follow us now. Thank you. We love you.